for the past few years, actually it's a two-part question, the price of gold and silver has been heavily suppressed. My question is this: what is the general forecast for the world financial arena for the summer? And will the prices of gold and silver cease to be manipulated in the near future?
Dear one, much work has been done to cease this manipulation that you are referencing. However, many shadow forces have thwarted these efforts, and this is what I was referencing with what has occurred in your month of May. In terms of will gold and silver cease to be manipulated, this is in the works. However, there are still bullets in the gun. There are still moves that the shadow forces would try to make before this will occur. And so, will this happen over the summer? It is not a strong timeline for the manipulation to cease over the summer. It is much more likely that this timeline would be stretched out to the fall, or perhaps even to next year and beyond. For there are many moving pieces in this regard. It is not something simple that changes and everything else changes. There are many pieces that are moving by both the light and the shadow.
Yes, what would be the general climate for world finances through the summer?
It is very possible that you will see cryptocurrency slowly rising. It may not be a dramatic increase, it may be a slow build. Again, referencing the earlier part of this conversation, there are many pieces that are moving, and you may not see these results in the positive as of yet. But simply know, dear ones, that much is being done in the background. Now, I will also say that the way you can assist a stronger timeline for abundance and wealth for all is for you to hold this frequency within your being. And so I would invite you, dear ones, to embody the frequencies of wealth for all within your being, so that a stronger timeline can be built and created. This is an area of such great opportunity for light workers, because many light workers are not focusing on wealth and abundance for all. Many light workers are simply trying to get through each day. Many light workers are focusing on timelines where there is no money exchanged. But I will say, dear ones, that this is such a great opportunity for light workers to create a timeline of wealth and abundance for all. And before you move into the timelines of no money being exchanged, of equal opportunity exchange, you must first learn what it is to be wealthy and abundant. And so for some of you, this includes physical money. For some of you, this has nothing to do with money. But either way, As you embody the frequencies of wealth and abundance, you are contributing to a stronger timeline so that all can experience wealth and abundance in whatever way they choose.
These deal with worldwide political and financial events. The first one is there was an article in a magazine called The New American. It was on May 9th. And this article was in reference to the Pope basically making a decree to eliminate all national sovereignty worldwide. And my question is, are the Jesuits going to implement this, or are they doing it now? And does this have a link to cryptocurrencies as they're evolving?
The Jesuits are attempting to do this now because of the awakening happening on the planet. They are finding it more difficult than they would like. It is taking longer than they anticipated. And yes, they are working with the cryptocurrency to some degree. They are able to manipulate it to some degree, but their efforts there are also being thwarted. This is, of course, good news because this signifies change. This signifies that they are losing power. But as we have discussed before, at this stage, they are pulling out all the stops, so to speak. They are doing everything they can to influence, to try to regain their power. For they do see the direction the world is going in terms of moving into the photon belt and into the light. And they are trying to preserve as much power for themselves as possible. But the ways in which they are doing this, because they are harnessing false power, these ways are self-imploding to some degree, and they will continue to have a hard time taking this kind of power. They are losing their grip.
Mark Zuckerberg has secretly formed, I believe, a new branch to Facebook in Switzerland. And that is a base where he is creating a new cryptocurrency called Global Coin. Will this coin have any success? And will it affect the price of Bitcoin in the future?
It will have success. This will be temporary, understanding that the meaning of temporary depends upon how your timelines unfold. It could be a year, it could be 10 years, but it will not be ultimately in the end successful, but it will see some success. There may be periods of time where it affects Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has a strong enough foundation that it will not be drastically affected.
There have been rumors about the specific height that Bitcoin could reach in the near future, that being within the ending of this year and the ending of next year. Some people are saying it may hit levels of $100,000 or more. How do you feel about this?
It is not likely that it will go much beyond 20,000. It could go higher, but this will not be a long-term situation. This would be a very short spike.
So there have also been talks about the currency reboot involving gold to back this currency. Do you see the price of gold going up in the near future, let's say within the year or year and a half, and to what levels?
This is a bit unstable. These timelines are a bit unstable at the moment. There is a possibility that there is a slow build with lots of dips and valleys along the way. The trajectory is an increase, but it is a slow increase at this point. To what degree does it increase? There are so many other factors tied into this that it depends on what happens with all of these other factors. There is a timeline that is very unsolid at this point, that is not very solid at this point, that could see a very high increase. But again, this is depending upon what other countries are doing, what cryptocurrency is doing, what they decide to do with the dollar. There are so many things that are affecting the possibilities of what will happen. The most likely timeline at this point is a slow build, a slow increase, without dramatic spikes, without dramatic levels of worth, of value.
What do you see the level of cryptocurrencies being at within, say, 3 years? I know that's kind of pushing out the timeline, but just a general feel.
There is a great possibility that they will become very strong and very pervasive in the global economy. And so there is a great possibility that they will reach higher levels of value. The likelihood is that they are also a slow build with sporadic spikes and increases in value and sporadic dips and decreases in value, but an overall trajectory of increasing in value. Using the example of Bitcoin, it could reach 30 to 50,000 in the next 3 years. Again, keeping in mind these timelines are not yet formed, they are very unstable, but working with the current energy and the trajectory of the current energy, these are possibilities.
And this will be my final question. Do you see them outperforming precious metals?
In some sectors, meaning for those people that are not in the elite category with great amounts of funding, cryptocurrency will be possibly very valuable for these people. For those who have access to lots of financial resources, including gold and gold-backed currency, cryptocurrency may not be as important for them. And so, depending upon which sector you belong to, cryptocurrency could outperform precious metals, but there will always be value in gold and silver. Think about it this way, dear one. The value of precious metals has to do with frequency. For example, the frequency of gold, it is not just about what it is worth monetarily, it is about what its frequency is worth. For the frequency and the energetic signatures and the light codes that are carried by gold cannot compare to anything else on your planet. Cryptocurrency does not carry these types of light codes and energy signatures. And so the value of gold, as the example, is incomparable from this perspective of frequency. And this is why it will always be important on your planet, and this is why it will always be held by those in power, because they understand the energy signatures that gold carries and imparts. Now, what is very likely is that you will see a shift of these precious metals to more of the light workers, because it can only be used correctly and in alignment by those who understand the light codes and wish to use them to help humanity rather than control humanity. And so, in this way, it has been greatly misused in the past, and this is now shifting so that those who are earth stewards, those who are working for the benefit of all life, these beings will begin to take more control of these precious metals and use them for the good of humanity and the good of the planet. I thank you, dear one.